Namaste and welcome to Light, Laughter, and Lattes. My name is Geri Habstritt. I'm an Avesa quantum healer, medical intuitive, self-ascension intuitive counselor, and your friend and soul connection for the next hour. So welcome everyone to this December moment. I am so glad you're all with me, everyone listening at Oneness Talk Radio Facebook, Oneness Talk Radio YouTube, Oneness Talk Radio. And if you happen to be listening via podcast on Anchor or Spotify, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And so today's topic is embracing a new world. And I don't know if you are feeling it. It really depends on where you're focused and your energy has been. But there's a dramatic difference happening out there of those that have chose one direction and those of us that have chose to uplift, to awaken evermore. And I'm feeling this massive rebirth inside, all of this newness around. And I'm sure many of you are feeling that as well. And so we've kind of entered in this space where things aren't the same anymore at all. Everything is new and different. And so how do we navigate this? It's challenging to kind of find your feet or your security when everything's a little bit different and we're not quite sure yet. And so in the lines of feeling this newness, I wanted to do something new with my show. So I'm going to invite on a co-host today. She's a dear friend of mine. She has been on the path of self-ascension with me for 11 years now. So we are both Avesa quantum healers, medical intuitives, and self-ascension intuitive counselors. And so I thought it'd be fun that we have a conversation about getting along in this new world together. And I'm going to invite her in right now. And her name is Patty Peterson.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you, Geri. It's always an honor to share time with you.
Oh, well, thank you. We've had many, many moments on this journey together that we've gotten to share.
That would very much fit the letting go and the new and as our chapters have shifted and evolved.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you feeling right now in this? I mean, the only way I can really explain it is it feels like the people who have chosen density, right? They're going that way, right? Those of us who chose to awaken more, we're going this way. But right now we're like this. Mm-hmm. So we're overlapped upon each other. And it's getting more intense because their energy is getting stronger. Our energy is getting stronger. And now we're having to learn how to navigate our new world, like a collective new world, right? But yet our rebirth process as we're constantly uplifting.
Very much so. And what I noticed, last week, a lot of people, in myself and a lot of people I'm connected to, it was a lot more of that coming up, challenges and the reflections and all of that of, what's in our face to make these choices. And then this week, it's been a little more of that new. I feel that upliftment and this, and I'm just feeling this. I can't, explain too many words as far as, but just knowing this new chapter is coming up for me, right? And how do we then open to receive and be clear on our focus with that? And yet things are having to shift and fall away with sometimes people very close to us. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so strange because typically you think of a rebirth at the beginning of a year, like January 1st, right? Wow. So it feels different for me to be experiencing all this rebirth energy right before the new year. So we're, and who knows how long it'll probably go right through it, but it feels odd, although everything's different right now. I suppose the spiral time is part of that.
Yeah, and that's something to really share with your listeners, that you're not alone. A lot of our old markers and, that we look to are very different. And so that can be affecting our stability and what feels our normal. So how do we shift and feel safe and stable to embrace anew when things don't feel the same. They're just different in so many different ways, right?
Right. And I've had, 3 calls this past week from people who have said yes to the upliftment, and like I'm needing support. I'm needing spiritual family. I can't even talk or relate or don't know how to with the old people that I talked and related to before. And and help me. Where can I go? What can I do? Are you saying that as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's been several of my clients have been just letting go of things simply as far as cleaning space. Being called, so cute, a husband and wife, our garage got cleaned out. Another one, the basement. Another one went to buy new clothes and nothing looked right for her to buy. So she knew she had to come home and get rid of the old in order to bring in this new. And in each of all of these people and clients, they're noticing too that I'm not the same with some of these people that were in my life in a bigger way before. And to trust their path, to still love them and allow them their journey. And yet, what is mine now? Are we clear on what we are choosing? Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm smiling about the clothes thing because I've been doing this as well for the past 3 weeks for sure. Went through the whole my closet and said, nothing in here feels like me anymore.
It's not the Geri now.
No, it's not the same me, but I still like that, and I'll pull it out. And I'm like, I got to keep it. I like it. And then I'm like, but I can't put it on. And so I just cleaned out all my old coats yesterday, and I'm like, I'm going to ship them out. I don't know what I'm going to replace them with, but I can't put these on. So it's interesting too, as you become more and more sensitive, how just the old doesn't feel good anymore. And that's the old in a lot of things, sometimes the old people, the old situations.
That evolution, right?
Yeah.
It might even be the foods. All of a sudden, certain foods are good. Can't eat that. I remember this at different points, right? Up-level moments. Oh, and very much the clothes. And it can be something else in your home. And then as we're mentioning, the people, what other areas are you seeing that in?
Well, I've noticed too, Facebook. Now, I don't do a lot of personal on Facebook, but I do business, and I enjoy seeing pictures and keeping in touch with family and stuff like that. But I always will block posts that are anything that's political, anything that's activism, anything that's victim drama, any of that, unless someone's singing a song or showing me their art or showing pictures of their family or posting a joke. They're blocked.
In there.
So my Facebook is actually a really happy place to be.
Mine too. Gotten rid of all of those that aren't on that same journey at this time, and choosing to follow things that will uplift me when I go on there.
Right. But I'm noticing now that there's a few people I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to have to block now. Like just a step up. We're like, oh no. Oh no.
Right.
This is, I didn't want to do that with this person. And actually that's what I would like to really talk about too, because this is something I noticed a lot for me, especially at Thanksgiving. And I imagine many of you did as well, because you got a chance to be with maybe family members that you haven't been around with for a while. And because everything's more intense, things that were maybe not great or not fun before, you could still be okay with it. You could get by with it. And now that things are more intense, I can't stand in a room when people are talking about political stuff, or when people are really into conspiracy or whatever that might be. So I had to really work on, when I was in the moment, and the questions and the anger or whatever it was literally being directed at me. Not I'm angry at you, but I'm angry at the situation, and I'm going to tell you why, I had these moments of, okay, what do I do here? Do I say enough? I don't want to hear it and walk out the door. Do I just listen with a smile on my face? Do I lift and witness the conversation? Do I beam star consciousness?
Right.
You know, I went through all of these
Yes.
and like, I don't know what to do. And I think I maybe tried a couple of them. I definitely tried the beaming, the star consciousness.
Yeah.
We all know lifting that energy
Yeah.
and beaming it at
Their
someone.
self, despite the drama in their personality self.
Yep. But I didn't have luck. I did not have luck. So maybe I wasn't able to lift enough because in my confusion over the best way out, you know, you know, after a couple of days, then it just kind of quit. But I'm thinking, I imagine that a lot of people are having to navigate a new way with people.
I'm sure they are. And I'm noticing I don't know if the word is tolerance, but a shift there, you know, and the first thing is we do need to honor ourselves and not judge anybody else, right?
Right.
And so in honoring me, is this energy supporting me, uplifting me, without us either trying to fix anybody? We're not saying that at all, you know. And so I'm noticing that where I'm at right now, I can't stay very long, you know, so I know my time limit. Can I be there and love them where they're at? And yet when I start feeling the drained feeling, or sometime if I feel a little triggered, then I know there may be something in me to look at with me, right?
Right.
I start feeling that, and then I, you know, just say, I'm going to bow out. It's time for me to go, you know, whatever, and do for me and take care of me. So I know that before I wasn't as conscious, you know, and that's where I'm seeing a lot of my clients. They're just starting to get more aware of their energy field and really what is draining them. Because sometimes we're not so aware even in that moment. Then they get home later and they can't even get up off the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be some of that we've taken on. And so way to go. I would too. Try the star consciousness. And if anybody that's listening doesn't know that, I believe is it on shriandkira.com under private?
It's actually on YouTube. And if you type in Sri, SRI, and Kira, KRI, star consciousness activation. And it'll take you through the video of learning how to activate that. Mm-hmm. And the star consciousness is about an inch or two above the traditional third eye. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and up in that space, if you can lift your energy up there, you can exist in the world, but your energy is not partaking it, so to speak. You're more connected with your soul's energy, so you can give a higher answer, and you can offer that to the person in the situation that you're talking with or presenting in. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's always a good technique. And then if you can lift and witness, but it's interesting to do that in the middle of a strong dynamic.
Right. And often for many of us, the stronger dynamics are people that are close to us for the whole journey.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Our immediate families, those are often the ones that offer the greatest opportunities for this practice. Right.
Well, because literally you're there in the moment, mm-hmm. engaging, or they're mm-hmm. engaging with you. And so you want to be still there, kind of. Maybe you don't. There's times where I didn't want to be, but I was. And then there's this inner dialogue. Okay, so how do I navigate this? Mm-hmm. And then there's the practicing of, okay, I'm lifting up, or I'm, you know, so there's like so many things. Really, the multi-dimensional aspects of mm-hmm. ours are really being called forth.
Right.
Strongly.
And the more that we practice this, the more automatic we're living that.
Right.
You know, initially, these things take that constant focus, attention, steadfast commitment, because we're unwinding so many old patterns. We all had these patterns within our families and our close friends, and these, you know, the victim triangle, and we're navigating, working out of the ones that are no longer serving, that to lift into our new way. And so if any of you out there feel like, you know, you're trying, it's not quite working yet, I just want to encourage you to keep on, you know, yourself and give yourself compassion. And aware we are, and sometimes it is that unhealed inner child that'll come forward, which ties to our ego and than wants to be right or, feel in
Mhm.
control or defensive.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's usually the part that gets engaged and pulled into the
Yeah,
space that we don't want to be in.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And so when we recognize it and go, oh, wow, there it is, and can we chuckle at that and just, oh, that's an old pattern. Well, how do I, give you some more love and then
Mhm.
get it from the higher. And hopefully we're claiming another gift from it, clarity.
Yeah, I had an interesting experience this morning. I bring my dog to the dog park almost every morning, and usually there's several people out there with their dogs. And usually I'm over at the side by myself because I really want to exercise mine. And this is often where a lot of inspiration comes to me. I'm coming up with ideas for the show, something to write about, and I'm just by myself in nature, throwing my dog the ball. Well, her ball ends up in the middle of a circle of a bunch of people standing all in a circle. And so I have to go over there and enter the center of the circle to get her ball. And they start talking about little riots that are happening with pro-mask people and anti-mask people.
Oh,
And I didn't know there was even such a thing happening, but apparently it is.
it's very rich
And
in my area.
what?
It's very rich here in my area.
Well, literally, I guess there's anti-maskers going into businesses that have the signs saying you can't wear a mask and harassing the owners.
Yes.
So anyways, I ended up in the middle of the circle. I can feel the adrenaline rush connecting from each of the people around the circle, hitting me in the center as I go to get the ball.
Oh, yes.
And I went, wow, as I felt the adrenaline rush, thinking how easy it is. That adrenaline is just like a drug, any drug that you're addicted to. And we know, well, we've been here, you and I, 50-ish years, right? It's the way of being for all of us, how easy it would be to stand there and get sucked into a conversation. And it was the clear thought is like, wow, I had all this creative energy over here by myself. And then there's that over there that a person could easily sell their energy off to and get involved in that. So the choices are becoming very clear, and there's lots of energy in either choice. So we have to be so steadfast and committed and aware in where we want to be and how we want to use our energy.
Yes. Yeah. We'll keep getting opportunities and experiences to do that, to reaffirm and recommit, right? And I know last week several of us felt that in ways where we were just and we had picked up somebody's energy.
Yeah.
Another word on somebody coming on.
Yes, it's Gaia Man. He's saying hi. Hi, Gaia Man. Glad you joined us. Anyone else have questions for us too? You can jump in, say hi, be in the chat. Both of us are medical intuitives and quantum clairvoyants, and so we welcome your highs, welcome your questions, welcome just you joining in. So, hi Gladys. Thank you for joining in. Glad to connect with you.
You a big hug. Thank you.
And so another thing I wanted to talk about too is this embracing the new, is the aspect about expectations too, releasing expectations. I don't know how you experienced this, but when the COVID thing first started, I had no idea that it was going to go on and turn into this, like it's gigantic mushroom cloud. In my little mind, right? I thought it was going to be a little 3-month experience. We'd be over back to normal, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep. And now here we are in a new way. Who knows how long this way or a modified version of this way we're going to go. I know I had a little bit of a mourning period where I know I can manifest my dreams, but I'm still manifesting them on this backdrop, right? I'm still got to go out in the world and navigate all this that's going on. Can I do that with my dream overlaid?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how about you? What's your experience of that?
Oh, very much. I remember in the spring just thinking, oh, this is going to die out before too long, very optimistic. And because so much of our life is spent around building our immune systems. I've been a holistic healer for 20 plus years. And so I don't know, I was thinking this is going to not be so all encompassing. So it is very interesting. And because we don't watch the news.
Right.
So I, don't even realize how much fear-based propaganda is being spewed out there, unless we hear from our clients and whatnot, and because we know that our journey is to work on ourselves and keep evolving and living from our true self, affecting the whole. And so, yeah, it really has, however, come in our face though when like things like I was going to Tosa Blue Mountain. And trying to go there, and then all the COVID restrictions and all of this, how it impacted these different events in my life. And then it's like, wow, okay, how am I going to be with this? It brought up so many opportunities for me to look at. Maybe there was resistance to me really living who I was that was bringing some of these blocks in. Mm-hmm. Or can I be flexible and trust the flow for me? All these different opportunities were coming in with what's going on out there.
Absolutely. Well, and there's what I'm seeing seems to be really working the best is if you can be flexible with what's going on and just kind of say, okay, this is how it is. It's not the world that I had visioned. It's not the world that I thought my kids were going to be heading off into college or just leaving college from, missing out on their senior, they've already canceled prom at my son's high school for this year. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So look at that, even putting that energy in, right? That, by next spring, we're still going to close down.
Yeah. Yeah. And he missed it last year. So he'll have had a high school experience with no prom. No, that's not the end of the world. But having to be so flexible with this is how it is and how can I make the most of it? Okay. So I don't like wearing a mask. It's not fun. But me being angry about it isn't going to make anything better. And I'm just going to add to the resistance and anger energy in the world. So I'm going to get me a fun mask and I'm going to wear it. And people can feel your energy. They can see the smile in your eyes, right? We talked about that this morning. Yeah. It doesn't do any good to butt up against it. It's like a knot when it's pulled tight, all you're doing is making it tighter. The only way you're going to release the knot is just by letting go.
Release some of the resistance, right?
Yeah.
And people have asked me about the masks, and I go, well, yeah, I don't believe that that's the only thing that's going to protect us. There's, like I said, there's so much about the level of consciousness we're carrying and how we're building our immune system by what we eat and our microbiome and all of that, more than just a mask. Yet even though I'm not happy about it, like you mentioned, it's the energy we're approaching it with. And exactly. So I'm not going to be in all anger that, oh my gosh, they're making me do this. Let's just wear this. And how can I lift into my highest self? And again, just witness this and shine. I've had quite fun as I was navigating the airport recently and going, well, okay, let's practice more of that star consciousness. Let me, it's making me more aware of what is showing physically here. And really, smiling more really from the eyes, right? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing the responses I was getting. I was having great fun. And especially with, little kids and all of that. And that, and perhaps maybe some of this, I'm sensing right now is maybe we're getting more in tune to what we're feeling and all of this other way too. The energy. Mm-hmm. And what we're putting out there and receiving back through some of that.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of people thriving because they're using this new way to be creative.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, for example, there's a company in town that makes, sourdough breads, everything sourdough, which is awesome for people who, maybe have sensitive stomachs because the sourdough is easier to digest. And even people, some who are grain-free, will do a little sourdough, right? So they've created their own company out of their house, and you just order up, and they'll deliver it right to you.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people that have found ways around how it is, and they're doing really well because they can cater to people in a new, different way. So it's an opportunity to be creative. I mean, I think about that even with my limited diet, no sugar, no meat, no dairy, no grains. I'm like, okay, well, there's a handful of things I can have. How can I mix these and make something cool out of it? And eventually it'll be something that more people are going to want, because as more and more people lift, or as we move into these ways, they're going to be wanting more and new different things or things that work.
Right. Yeah, very much so. In my circles, I'm noticing a lot of people being, offered opportunities, sometimes forced, to find new ways of doing things. And that's that ending of some of our old and embracing new. I mean, I know myself, a lot more of my work now is online. And even my monthly gatherings I used to do in this area, building our Toasta community, is now all online. And that ended up being a great gift. I have people from other countries joining.
Right.
And so I'm hoping, that many can take the opportunity to look at, well, if I am feeling more limited here, and yet what are the opportunities for me to be more creative, to share, discover more of who I am, and bring that out in whatever new way I can.
Right. One of the things that people can do who are still holding on to the past, and this is something that I actually did last week, and last week was a huge week. Could be a whole show just on last week.
That's what somebody commented here too. She said, yes, it was a big week last week.
It was a huge week. Is to resolve some of those feelings. And so there's a number of ways you can do that. What I did is I just kind of woke up with this feeling like, if I were to not be here tomorrow, or if I were to lose anyone that I loved, what is it that I would regret that I didn't get to do, And it was this real strong feeling, because I think it was the time ending and a new opening. So I honestly felt like I was going through a bit of a death, and I was, to myself.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and connected with these people, sent them emails, called them and said, can we work these things out? Can we talk about that? I feel in my heart that I need to make peace with some of these loose ends. And that was a great way to...
Beautiful resolution.
Yeah.
And healing. Then you mentioned something that's a very good practice, for any listeners. I had a mentor give this to me. There's different versions of it. You mentioned just how you said, but if I only had one day left to live, how would I want to live it? And another one, a sentence stem that says, if I were to leave the planet tonight, a regret I would take forward is, or a regret I have is, and just see. And that was a little different way. And when I do that periodically, when I'm having those kind of days, then the answers are, it sounds like you were guided. Okay, let's find these resolutions. And I'm going to reach out and share what needs to be said, and open that doorway.
Yeah. And it turned out that both of the people that I reached out to, and they happened to be my children, really responded well. They were ready for resolution too. So it was like this mutual thing that was beautiful. And so, anyone who might be listening to that, that is one thing that will help you. I mean, you don't have to do it, but anytime you have unresolved energy with other people, part of your energy is stuck in the past with that. And it's harder to move forward when part of you is being still pulled backwards. So it frees you and your energy for the new, and it also frees them and their energy for the new. So it's a gift for both of you if you can just sit down and do that.
Absolutely. Yes, with love, compassion, and sometimes we have to give a good dose of self-forgiveness there too. It probably comes up.
Oh yes, a matter of fact, and I bring up the forgiveness practice a lot on my show,
Yeah.
but I can't mention it enough. It is
Exactly.
on my website.
Universal healer. It's a universal healer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and I did this last week as well while I did that. So I was
Mhm.
like really giving myself a huge
Healer.
dose of
Yeah.
healing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But like I told you, I would rather um self-impose healing on myself, even though there's pain and it hurts, than to later be hijacked by your unfinished stuff. Because it will happen one way or the other.
Well, it'll come up, yeah, at some point. Yeah, and can we sit with some of those uncomfortable feelings? Farron mentions in the comments, like the grief can come up. And can we, remember that we're human, we have these emotions, but we're not our emotions. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that, can I just honor this? I'm feeling this grief. I'm going to sit with it a minute and then, love myself through it. Perhaps, some forgiveness there. Perhaps we're looking at, well, what positive did I develop through letting, by this past pain or whatever. And so really being conscious of that, not our denying or stuffing, because it, like Geri said, it'll come out down the road and sometimes sideways when we least expect it or want it to.
Yeah. Or in your body some way.
Yes,
Yeah.
a symptom. We've had plenty of those, most of us, to process through. And so that takes courage to look at our stuff and to face it and keep saying yes to yourself, and commitment and tenacity and perseverance. And yet the rewards, right, are so much more beautiful.
Well,
Yeah,
and it's ongoing. It doesn't seem like it stops. It just is. It's it's ongoing.
ever evolving in this lifetime.
Yeah. And I wanted to address that. Hi, Farron. And she talked about the grief. I wanted to mention that as well, because I too have been experiencing a lot of grief. And there's just so many levels of it. I don't think you could even nail it down. I mean, I think many of us had a great vision, what we thought this world could be like or should be like. Probably all of us, many are still hoping for world peace, and now we're seeing what it is really like. And we're watching people close to us, maybe polarizing, where we're thinking, okay, now I can't be around them as much. So now I'm mourning the loss of friends. And then there's that, well, how is this all going to play out? What's going to happen in the next 2-3 years? I mean, we're still co-creating all of this. And so there's the confusion around all that too. So there's like so much that I think you just gotta cry it out. Cry it out. Or
Absolutely. Yes, sometimes when we feel those waves, they definitely are from the collective, and sometimes we may have part of our journey, I'm just, tied to the past life stuff. And, there's so many pieces, and our mind doesn't always have to stay so attached to, well, what is this exactly?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's where our 2-year-olds teach us really well, just to have that temper tantrum and then go play afterwards.
You're right. Yeah. They're some of our best teachers and healers. As I got to spend time with mine, they keep reminding me about that being present to the moment, right? The children, children coming in are so beautiful, carrying higher levels of consciousness.
Yes.
Helpers. And so if anyone can immerse yourself around beautiful children, I really encourage that.
Yeah. And they're reminding us too to remember that joy-filled inner child that's still in all of us.
Yes.
Because what I've really learned is that inner child, healed, is the one that can open all the gateways and portals for our higher expansion.
Yes.
Unhealed, it can stop us from getting there. And the key is to be the healed, joy-filled inner child that's playing and not connected to any of this stuff. The one that knows that they're the superhero that's got the cape on. That they can.
Yes, so present and creative and curious and inspired. And that's exactly it. When we heal, what we were talking about before about being triggered and defensive, it's usually tied from the ego to the hurting inner child from our past experiences and beliefs we took on. I'm not good enough, whatever.
Mhm.
That child becomes just that in us. And that's our inspiration. And I just want to mention on my YouTube site, Patty Markham Peterson, I do have an inner child visualization, meditation, healing practice. And with all my clients, we do this. And especially if you're feeling triggered, and you're feeling off, do that and see if you can find some of the roots. So then the inner child can be that joy-filled inspiration.
Yeah. Another aspect of all of this, embracing this new world too, is the whole working at home thing. I know a lot of businesses started out, everyone's at home, and then they're finding out that that's not really working so well. So some businesses are buying up office spaces all over the place so they can keep their, people in office spaces, but separated.
Oh,
And so
okay.
yeah, so there's lots of new, I know me personally, I do better. This is what my true calling is the medical intuitive work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do so well waking up at home alone. I will, go for a walk. I want to listen to music. Now I'm over here and I'm like, crap, now I got to go to work. And if I have to get up in the morning, so that's part of the reason why I'm a substitute teacher, is I have to get up at 5:30, shower up, get ready, take care, nourish myself, do all those things. And I'm much more efficient that way. I do way better. Then I can come home and work. Well, now we're all off and we're at home, and it's really easy to just hang out in your pajamas all day long, and really not move your energy, not move forward. And so you've been at home a long time and working at home, and have found a pattern and routine for you. So there's really no change there, but you seem to do quite well with it. What are some of your tips for that?
Well, I definitely, I'm very clear on what uplifts me, or, what are the important things for me to feel good. And one is meditation, the stretching, the yoga. Some of us follow the medical mediums work with the celery juice in the morning, so some of these rituals, these very enhancing practices are my first things. They have to be done. Thankfully, I have the flexibility. I don't start clients till about 10 a.m. So I can take, this is me time, which, being a mom who raised kids for forever, that I didn't have that. So it's still kind of such a joy that I get to do what I want when I want. But yet, if somebody's having a hard time, what are important things, and having some sort of ritual or schedule. Maybe you have so much work online, but you only have a little time for lunch. Well, can we make sure we go outside and see the sun and breathe, or maybe go play with the pet? And what would keep you more inspired and uplifted? And for sure, that moving that energy is so important. I stop and do some stretches periodically through the day, or push-ups, or and then reaching for support from somebody else that you really can resonate with, that can uplift you. I often will reach out to somebody that'll just be very accepting if I'm having a tough day.
Right.
Because being alone, I've noticed I miss touch. That's a big one for me. And my pet's pretty good, but still not filling the bill. And chocolate's another go-to. Still not quite enough. So what are creative ways that keep tuning into yourself to help you feel balanced and to flow through that day?
Yeah, I'm finding some things that I like to do. Like, I like mood lights and Christmas lights. So I make my own, I love coffee houses, so a coffee house setting, right? And I get music that I like. I'm always inspired with like inspirational background music without
That,
words in the background.
yep.
And
Good
so,
music to shift.
yep, those kind of things keep me inspired. I make sure to do at least an hour of a fun kind of exercise, and I switch it up so it doesn't get boring.
Yep.
So either yoga, and then I found something called Body Groove, which is a dancing in my living room, kind of, they guide you, but you get to add your own way to it. So, and lately I just started putting my ukulele next to my computer. So I'll work for an hour, I'll stop for 10 minutes, and I'll play my music, and I'll work for an hour.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that. You've always been such a great music person. I know when we've stayed in hotels, the first thing Geri does is put the music going. And I noticed how that really helped me, especially last week when I was feeling down. I turned music on. I have a friend who turned me on to reggae. I was never much of a reggae person, but how can you not dance if you turn on reggae, right? And so I was feeling down, but I blasted that and I started to move, and it was just like, wow. Our endorphins start flowing, our energy field starts moving. And that really helped. So sometimes maybe between, work on the computer, just go blast your favorite music for a while.
Right. Well, and it's got me thinking too, because so many are addicted to the adrenaline of the drama. And I know that one well, because I was one of those people. I had to go through a repetitive experience for 7 years, partly because I couldn't let go of it. And even though I took all the steps necessary that I thought should complete it, that was the one piece that I was still hanging on to that kept the drama going. And so I know that one well, but yet we can get that same adrenaline from the music, the dancing, the exercising, the joy, the creating energy. We can find it in those other places.
Yes. Yep. To become aware, what was feeding that adrenaline rush? Is it something fun and more inspiring, or coming more from a defensive or a energy? I love Gladys. Yes, Brazilian music is very upbeat. I got to remember to try that.
Yeah, I haven't checked out Brazilian music, but I'm game. I love the African style music. Wow, that's fun to dance to. So I don't know, maybe one of these days my live stream will be a dance off.
Yeah, and that's another thing some of us have done. I have a dear friend who is often a joy bubble like you are, and she's done that where we have a Zoom gathering and dance, and my daughter Farron has with art, and some of these other different ways to get together with people that we haven't before. And really, when we try something new, new music, new food, science can even show that we're creating new neural pathways in our brain. We know about energy, and it's opening up and getting out of comfort zones, and it's, all of this opening up creative energy. But even in science, it can help our brain chemicals. So what new can we try? I'm going to do the Brazilian music. Thank you, Gladys.
Well, yeah, and also what it does too is it helps to break patterns.
Yes.
So if we're in a repetitive pattern that keeps going, and we're in a lull, and we don't know how to get out of it, just trying one thing new.
Yes.
Or even walking through a fear, little one, just go to karaoke and actually go on the stage. That'll help you move forward in huge ways.
True.
Yep, trying those new things will help. They'll help initiate a rebirth, actually. So
yeah, it's powerful. Sometimes it's simple things. And that's the big thing about energy, right? The mind thinks I got to do all these big shifts or changes, and it's not always. Start with something small, and it builds, and it's doing a lot more on the energy level than, again, our little pea brain may recognize.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, let me see. I'm going to take a peek at my notes and see if there's absolutely something on here that we have to acknowledge about this.
Yeah.
And if not, we have a few minutes left. The only last piece that I think it's good to mention is that right now, in the way things are, we really need to focus even more so than we did before, because we can get so easily get pulled into the old, pulled into the distractions. And our level of trust even needs to be stronger, because if you go look out in the world, what we're seeing is really the opposite of what we know is our truth. And what we know is a possibility. So in order to hold that higher truth and to hold our inner knowing, the trust even has to be stronger, because we are creating literally in the face of opposite.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so what are what tools, what helps us to anchor that trust? Right. Hopefully, do they have mentors to reach out? I know that's huge for me.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the things we talked about as far as self-love, and comfort and compassion, to keep reminding ourselves, what connects me to the truth of who I am. Yeah. What about you, Jer?
Well, what I think helps me trust the most is when I see the results of my creation, whether it's thought, intentional creation, or focus, when it shows up in my life instantly, even if it's the worst. And I remember there was a period of time where I was in drama, and it was literally my focus that kept me recreating it. And it was like, oh, wow, look at how powerful I am. I created more. Look what I created. It wasn't what I wanted to create, but I got to see that I am indeed a creating.
Paying attention, which,
and now I've got that piece mastered, so that I'm focusing on the good things. And anytime just little things will appear in my life that I thought about, it's a constant reminder of the power of the creative being that we are. And I think that helps me trust the most.
Beautiful. Yes. Yes. Being that very aware of what keeps showing back up where we're at. Yes. And going back to our spiritual practices to bring us back to that still center.
Yeah, absolutely. We're much better creators from the still center than we are winging out to the right or left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we recognize it more when we go off balance and all that. It's all part of the journey.
Well, I'm thinking we have like 5 minutes, and since healing is our specialty, we should take advantage. I'm going to pull 1 cards of clarity for our group who's all listening or will be listening to this. This is a card that's going to be just a card that's calling out to all of our energy for us. And then we will use this card as like the guiding force for you to do a little balancing with all of us. Do you have the bells handy?
Yep, I do. And my challenge. So, okay.
Okay. Okay, let's see what we have here. We have Serapis Bay. So I'm going to read a Serapis Bay quick. And Serapis Bay is really about what we've kind of been talking about. Really? So much about going to the 10,000 feet and seeing things above, above where it's at.
Lifting and witnessing, as Geri mentioned before, and we've been, and that's
being the witness.
Practice, eyes on the divine and lifting. And
yep. Okay. So here we go. And
what's the number, Geri?
It's 12.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So it's Ascended Master 12, Serapis Bay. And I'm going to read from the cards of clarity. And I'm going to do a shout out to Jean first. Hi, Jean.
Hello, dear Jean. Wonderful to see you here with us. Look forward to a hunt in physical someday soon.
Okay, guys, you're going to love this. Here's the first sentence.
Let's just see.
The time to be free from all addiction is at hand. Sound the trumpets, for you are now a global peace warrior. Stand back from your personal interactions and see the larger picture. Imagine yourself at 10,000 feet looking at the events of your life and those around you. Can you see the role that addiction has played? Can you be present to the primary addiction of all beings in body, which is attachment to this world and how we experience it? Yes, this is a big question and one that you are ready to be with. Your mind will not move you through this experience, so there is only one choice: release it. Each time your mind decides to control you, go back to 10,000 feet and smile, then release it again. You are ready to be the embodiment of peace, freed from all addictions. In this peace, you are able to radiate and hold both personally and globally.
Perfect, isn't that?
Oh my goodness.
Did you all feel beautiful energy come in with that? I feel like guides. Tune into that. And I'm going to just use my golden chalice here in these last minutes and crystalline bells. Just feel your energy field. Hold your intent, what you're ready to release with the chalice here. See and feel your chakras clearing, whatever works for you. Here we go. I feel some truth chakras. Breathe and send it out, the truth chakra. That's your throat. Start at the root, clearing there, right at the tip of the tailbone. Breathe, crystalline light down. Clear. Now your sacral. There's our creation center. Next breath. Solar plexus, our trust. Remind yourself, I trust. I trust the divine working through me. Heart center. I am love. Love is. Throat. I listen within. I'm safe in my truth. Safe to share my truth. Wow, feel that? Many of us have that. Unwinding. Beautiful. Third eye. Your vision. Seeing beyond, your personal connection to your guides. See that clearing. Send energy out the front and the back. And then up out through the top, your wisdom center. I expect miracles. There. Coming out like a fountain around you as we clear out what's not needed. Now we listen to crystalline bells, your root chakra. I deserve because I was born. Claim your beingness as a beautiful divine being here in human form. Next into the solar plexus, releasing our control, stepping into surrender, trust. Breathe that crystalline energy, purifying your energy field and your chakras. And your throat, your beautiful truth center. You are safe in your truth. Yeah, so it is.
Thank you.
Yes.
My feet are vibrating all the way up to the crown of my head.
Me too. We all have beautiful blast off energy.
I'm feeling like a crystal.
Yeah.
Radiating out. So I hope all of you listening and watching felt that as well. And I hope you all have a great week. This was fun, Patty. Fun to have someone to talk to as opposed to myself looking in the screen.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, for joining in the chat and being here listening. May you receive, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely. This time going forward now than ever, we really need support. We really need to surround ourselves with people that, resonate with us. And we really need to have community. So this is one of the ways that I do this. So I'm glad you all were here as a part of that. It was so much fun to have everyone tune in. And so have a great week, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.